And right now on News 4 at 6, a targeted attack. State police say the man shot on the I-190 has died. Now officers are trying to learn what led up to the gunfire. The latest on the investigation tonight.
Beautiful sunshine across the area for the next couple of days. We do have one limited chance for showers into the start of the weekend to track for you. We'll have the latest coming up.
Plus, Niagara County deputies admit they put the wrong man behind bars for the attempted kidnapping of a little girl. The sexual predator now accused of the crime, and why the sheriff says he was roaming the neighborhoods for more than a week.
Live in high definition, this is Western New York's news leader. Now, News 4 at 6.
Our top story at 6, state police continue to investigate why a man was shot as he was driving along the 190. It happened in the middle of rush hour traffic last night, right near the Niagara Street exit.
State troopers say the victim died later at ECMC. News 4's Chris Horvitz has more on where this investigation stands. Chris?
Jackie, two key takeaways from state police. They're looking for the person or people responsible for firing a gun into a red Honda Accord on the 190 around 6:15 last night. Today, they're telling me that this does not appear to be a random shooting, and it does not appear to be a case of road rage. They think the victim was targeted.
We're very fortunate in this incident that no other people were injured.
Yeah, we have one person shot. AMR bus 215 is on location. I'm here with troopers and PD.
Radio calls from Broadcastify illustrate the scene as first responders pulled up to the incident on the 190 northbound near Niagara Street in Buffalo last night. New York State Police Captain David Den says he's never seen anything like it, a shooting involving two cars in rush hour traffic.
Definitely the only one that I can recall that ended up being a fatal.
Troopers are saying the victim is a male from Buffalo. His name and age have not been released. They will not say whether he was the only person in the red Honda that had noticeable bullet marks on it last night.
Do we have two cars firing at each other or one car firing at one car here?
We're not really at that point where we even know.
Here's what troopers do know. They say they have a description of the other vehicle involved, though they're not releasing that publicly. Good news for investigators, the 190 is full of NITEC cameras. The bad news,
the cameras don't record. So, they're basically for a live feed. That's for people to log on and view traffic conditions. So the investigators are tracking down leads and they're interviewing people at this time, just to try to learn any kind of background, any kind of information that could have led up to this event. Like I said before, it's safe to rule out that it was a road rage incident or that it was just a random act. But other than that, we really don't know yet.
Troopers today are thanking everybody who stopped on the highway to assist the man who was shot. We are told some of those people were able to provide a little bit of information to authorities, but investigators are still looking for help from anyone who was in that area last night. Chris Horvitz, News 4.
He is a career criminal. He's a career sex offender.
A new suspect has been arrested in an attempted child kidnapping case. The Niagara County Sheriff's Office says they arrested the wrong man last month in Wheatfield. And now deputies say a violent, convicted sex offender is behind bars.
News 4's Marissa Perlman heard from authorities today on this disturbing case of mistaken identity and why the sexual predator was able to roam neighborhoods for more than a week. Marissa?
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Charges have been dropped against Salvatore Prezioso, the Wheatfield man, accused of trying to kidnap his neighbor's 6-year-old daughter on Ward Road last month. He spent 12 days behind bars. Meanwhile, during that time, a violent level 3 sex offender, who's now accused of that crime, went undetected and unmonitored. The Niagara County Sheriff says it's unacceptable and changes are needed.
There was an identification made of Sal Prezioso, and that was a mistaken identification.
Salvatore Prezioso is a free man tonight. The district attorney's office and the Niagara County Sheriff revealed he was wrongfully accused. A family member who's also his lawyer says he's relieved about clearing his name, but calls what happened traumatic.
Mr. Prezioso suffered the indignity of being publicly labeled as a predator. He endured 12 days in the Niagara County Jail for a crime in which he had no involvement.
The sheriff says the right man is now behind bars. 64-year-old Larry Kuiper, with the last known address of Niagara Falls, is accused of breaking into a Ward Road home in late June and trying to carry a 6-year-old girl out of the house. The sheriff's office says Kuiper dropped the girl on the steps and ran away after the girl's mother woke up and started chasing him.
I'm sure he did his homework to find out that there was a young girl in that house.
Kuiper had been wearing an ankle bracelet while on parole. The sheriff says he cut off that bracelet, and the company monitoring the device did not tell the sheriff's office.
I certainly am concerned now that I know what I know. I never knew it was cut off, nor did anybody in my department.
For more than a week, the sheriff's office had no idea where Kuiper was. Kuiper has a laundry list of previous convictions, including 2 burglaries in the 70s. He was also convicted of raping a 14-year-old girl in 1983, plus an eerily similar crime of attempted kidnapping in 2004 in this same county. Sheriff Vautour says there's a lack of communication between the state parole board and local law enforcement.
New York needs to step up and do something so we're on the same page. So that when someone absconds, someone cuts off their ankle monitor, at least the sheriff of the county knows, so we can start looking for this guy.
Now, the state parole board sent us a statement about what happened here, saying once they were made aware Kuiper cut off his monitoring device, the department did notify law enforcement and made an immediate effort to try to find him. Kuiper is now being held in the Niagara County Jail without bail. He's expected to be back in court this month. Marissa Perlman, News 4 at 6.
A developing story tonight surrounding Buffalo Bills running back LeSean McCoy. He's speaking out on social media after being accused of domestic violence.
News 4's Nick Filipowski is here with more on this claim and McCoy's response. Nick?
Jackie and Dave, in a graphic Instagram post, LeSean McCoy is accused of several things. The most serious is domestic violence against his girlfriend, Alicia Cordon. The post, which News 4 is choosing not to show at this time, shows Cordon bloody and beaten with a swollen eye and lips. Now, the social media post also accuses McCoy of other disturbing accusations. The running back responded this afternoon on his own Instagram page, writing, quote, "For the record, the totally baseless and offensive claims made against me today on social media are completely false. Furthermore, I have not had any direct contact with any of the people involved for months." Now, the Bills have released a statement saying they have spoken to McCoy, have been in contact with the NFL, and will continue to gather information. We also received a statement from the Milton County Police Department in Georgia. They say they are investigating a home invasion on a street where McCoy owns a home and where they say a woman was beaten. That happened early this morning, but police did not identify McCoy or any victims. We will continue to follow this story as it develops. In the studio, Nick Filipowski, News 4 Sports.
We have an update tonight. Amherst police say an officer shot and killed the injured black bear that was roaming the North Towns for almost 2 weeks. Police say the bear was spotted yesterday off of Maple Road in Williamsville. Officials say it was put down with a single shot from a rifle around 9 o'clock last night. It was injured after being hit by a car on the 990 more than a week ago. Police say they shot the bear because it was still in a very populated area, and given its injury, it became a danger to the public.
Well, the Buffalo Billion corruption trial continued today in New York City.
All 4 men, including Buffalo developer Louis Simonelli, are accused of rigging state construction bids to beat out the competition. News 4's Jen Schatz was in court today and has this report from Lower Manhattan.
Closing arguments wrapped up Tuesday. We heard from the attorneys of the remaining defendants, Syracuse developers Joseph Girardi and Stephen Aiello, and Buffalo developer Louis Simonelli. We also heard from the government again in its closing rebuttal. Addressing the jury separately, defense attorneys for Syracuse developers Joseph Girardi and Stephen Aiello attempted to poke holes in the government's theory that the 2 men conspired to rig the open bidding process in Syracuse. Both attorneys pinned blame on Core Development's former consultant, Todd Howe, who was hired to help the company get a competitive edge on projects, a process that's not only legal but common, according to Girardi's attorney. He claims Howe controlled the information flow to Elaine Colieros, who was in charge of several upstate projects at the time. He also says his client did nothing to limit competition during the RFP process, which he says was fair. The attorney for Stephen Aiello attempted to turn the government's defense closing argument on its side, claiming Aiello never attempted to conceal evidence, as the prosecution said of all defendants in its closing Monday. He also said that the key government witness in this case, former LP Simonelli executive Kevin Schuler, never mentioned Aiello's name when he admitted to bid rigging. There is no overarching conspiracy, according to the defense of both Girardi and Aiello. Buffalo-based developer Louis Simonelli was named specifically by Schuler, who used to work for him. But Simonelli's attorney says that wasn't true. He, too, claims the RFP process for the $750 million innovation hub at Buffalo's Riverbend was completely fair. All the defendants in this case, including Elaine Colieros, whose attorney spoke Monday, have pleaded not guilty. Now, once the judge completes jury instruction, this case is really left in the jurors' hands. They'll deliberate and then return with a decision. Reporting from Lower Manhattan, I'm Jen Shantz.
Still ahead here at 6, saying goodbye to a Lockport staple. Why DeFilippo's is shutting its doors after more than 70 years in business.
No, we're not marching this way.
And I'm live here in Williamsville for Old Home Days. The parade's about to start shortly. We'll take a close look at the forecast into the start of the weekend coming up here next. News 4 at 6.
Closed captioning of News 4 is